Welcome, everybody to Fashion Victuals Radio right here on RipRadioNetwork.com. Happy Hump Wednesday, everybody. And I hope that everybody is actually getting over the hump. How was your hump day, Brian? Super producer Brian.
Mine's been fine. I've been pretty much, I'm doing some house cleaning.
You don't seem enthused about it.
I'm not, because it's sparked due to the fact of the housing development, they're getting inspected and all that stuff. So it's like, oh great, so we have to go through this bullshit again. So we gotta do things that I really don't want to do, and but take out things I need to take out of. So it's like, but the thing is the timing. It's like, if you did this in spring, would have been fine, but no, you're doing
the weather.
In the middle of fall, no,
the weather is not right.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Boo. I'm really sorry to hear that, because that moving shit is a bitch.
True.
True.
Well, it's more than moving. It's just cleaning out shit is a pain.
I can imagine. Mm-hmm. I can imagine. Well, tonight is a special night.
Yes, it's International Music Night.
It is International Music Night, and we have our cosplayer. That was cute,
cosplayer
right? Coming in, Miss London.
Yes.
And so this is a world that I'm not familiar with. Of course, I know it, but I've never been in it. So I have questions, and she is going to be here to answer all my questions right here in the studio. Yes. And we also got some interesting things for Fashion Victual News, as always.
Yes. We have an icon who's always says she's never late, but she usually is.
That's in a lot of icons.
Yes, so this is one in particular. And, and of course, we'll have some very interesting modeling news. So pretty much the two people who are transitioning and expanding their brands, in a sense.
Speaking of transitioning, I don't know if you're familiar with this person, but there's a stylist actually from here, used to live in Arlington, Virginia, now living in LA, Hollywood. His name is Tokyo Styles, and he is Cardi B and a lot of other famous artists and celebrities' personal stylist. And recently he went through a augmentation. Yeah.
Okay. Is this stylist a male? And went to the other side. Why?
I don't know. So I mean, people got choices in life. So well, I must say, I'm not gonna call him he, because he does not define himself as he defines himself as a she. So again, this individual, honestly, when they were living here, I knew what their status was as far as sexuality. And the only reason why I'm familiar with them is because they can slay some hair. Like, I was inquiring, like, how do I get a lace front? You know what I'm saying? Now I can't really afford them. I thought I couldn't afford them in the past. Damn it. I damn sure can't afford them now. But recently, and they were actually very open on social media about their transition from going from being a male into a female. When that person moved to LA, California, they pretty much started dressing more and more feminine.
Okay.
So I guess that bringing on this procedure kind of pushed the boundaries, like, hey, this is what's about to happen.
Pushing the boundary.
Well, I mean, they got titties. They have breasts now. So honestly, no shade at all, but I wish anybody who is going through some type of transition in life all the best, and the best of prayers, especially one like that. I can assure you it was probably a difficult decision to make. For some people it is, because one minute you're born this way and you're taking your life and making it another way. but I'm sure it was a decision that they made to be happy. So
I've always I've met a few transition people for the last, I would say in the last 15 years. And you know, of course, the most notable is Bruce Jenner going into
Caitlyn Jenner.
I just feel like it's like, why is it you feel you need to be? I mean, we should one day we should invite this particular, you know, this.
I would love to. Like first of all, let me stop saying he. She is very talented, and they went from being Tokyo Styles.
For us, it's always
exactly. They went from being Tokyo Styles to being Mia, and again, you can kind of honestly, I saw the transition happen from the time that they moved on the West Coast to what they were posting to what they were saying to being very open about the transition. Now that's one thing. Like, a lot of people are not open about the transition. Like, he literally posted on Instagram post-surgery.
Okay.
So it's just like one of those things where it's like, wow, like you really put yourself, not to put yourself out there, but you really put yourself on display. And I don't know if you're doing it to be, you know, to be that.
That's what?
I know that face you just made, so I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
I'll say this. Okay. I rarely mention the fact of I have enemies or people I dislike.
Brian, everybody loves you.
Not this person. And I never like this person. This is one of my sister's friends.
Oh, okay. I thought you was about to say somebody else, because you don't know who I'm talking about.
No, this is one of my sister's friend, ex-friend, I guess.
Okay.
They haven't spoken in a long, long time.
Okay.
So, like I said, I've known about transitioning people in the last 15 years. So this fool, I don't know if you're familiar with the Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes.
Okay. You know the character Q?
The black guy, right?
No, Q. This is the guy who pops out of in and out whenever he feels like it. He's like this Intian being that bothers the Enterprise whenever he sees fit.
Okay.
So anyway, I nicknamed him that because he was annoying as fuck. And so anyway, one of the last things dealings I had with him, he had the gall to email me his transition. Now, here's the thing.
Oh, my God.
He sent my sister some nice, decent picture of himself or herself.
Mm-hmm.
For me, no. Literally almost X-rated.
What?
Yeah.
Oh!
And almost it was like, and here's the thing. This is like, and here's the sad part. So I get the email at work. And luckily enough, the internet was slow that day, so it was like revealing the pictures, you know, bit by bit. And then once it got to the point where I noticed something was not good, I stopped that immediately. And I was like, you motherfucker, really? So my thing is, for some, I feel like, look, I respect who you are as a person.
Yeah.
If you're going to transition to this, that's fine. Okay, if this is how you be, that's fine. I get it. I respect who you are. But for this individual, Q, to this day and age, I'm Picard and he's Q, and we do not like each other. Seriously.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
well, Brian,
I digress.
Thanks for the story.
Yes. See, this is all, it comes together here. You know, we talk about Star Trek. Yes. Talk about cosplaying and Star Trek.
Absolutely. So, when London gets here, please come with your questions, your calls, 301-232-5700. Again, that's 301-232-5700, because if you're curious just as much as I am, I'm actually excited because I'm a little intrigued by this whole thing.
Oh, you'll like it.
Okay. So yes, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to jump right into Fashion Victual News right here on RippedRadioNetwork.com. Fashion Victuals Radio. Welcome back to Fashion Victuals Radio right here on RipRadioNetwork.com. Let's jump right into the FV news for the week. Super producer Brian, will you do the honors?
There we go. Hey, yes. Yeah, we're back. All right. Starting off, a musical legend, or soon to be musical Hall of Famer, Madonna. She's been, just like you, been a bit tardy to her own party.
I was on time today.
yes, I'll give you credit just for today. But anyway, Madonna, she has been late to her, for some odd reason, to her shows.
I heard.
Due to the fact that, some odd reason, that's how she is. She stated this, that here's something you all need to understand, that a queen is never late. And that was a recent show she did at Vegas last week.
She tried it.
So initially it was supposed to start at 8:30, but unfortunately she didn't get. All right, I'll give you a guess. Guess what time she got on stage in Vegas?
It was midnight, right?
12:30.
I was close.
You were close. 12:30.
I seen the
local
stories.
time. So that means,
I know.
think about it. If you were in the East Coast, you'd be dead asleep by 3 o'clock.
Or if you were on East Coast time flying to the West Coast to see her perform, you would be hot.
Yes. Or you could be on time based on her schedule. So anyway,
what did Ricky Bobby say?
Yes. So Madonna didn't show up until 12:30 on her last Vegas show.
Something?
But now here's where the debate problem. Well, here's the problems coming up. Unfortunately, there's a gentleman by the name of Nat Hollander. He purchased tickets this past summer to see her show, which will be taking place in the middle of the week in December. He just found out that Madonna and her team officially changed the start time from 8:30 to 10:30. 6 weeks from now.
What?
Yes. So pretty much he's got tickets, and here's the day that he's supposed to be going to see her. It's on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday, not a Thursday. No, on a Tuesday. So
that's crazy.
So the guy, Nate, he decided to, hey, can I get my money back?
Of course.
And he, rallied up some people and figured it's like, hey, we need to, collectively try to do this.
Right.
So anyway,
I agree.
So he purchases 3 tickets, and he is pretty much requesting a refund of $1,025.
I would absolutely be requesting my refund.
And I've seen the tickets prices for her shows late. It's very pricey. But anyway, unfortunately, he got denied. So we'll see what happens after.
Oh, wow.
If he will be going to the show.
She might as well get that man his money. She could write a check for that.
Oh, she can write a lot of things for that.
You're
so.
right.
But anyway,
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Damn Madonna.
So here's some 2 happy news.
Yeah, let's see some happy
first,
news.
Let's give shout out to Meg the Stallion.
Meg the Stallion.
She has now officially.
Big old freak.
Yes.
Big booty, big old freak.
Well, this little freak is getting her freak on, and especially in her bank account, thanks to Coach. They made her a spokesperson for Coach now.
Oh, God.
Yes. So
they really trying to bring up their brand.
Well, hey, they're trying.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's a good thing. So because Coach is promoting their new holiday collection, and she's part of a nice collective group. Yardie from Grownish and his Blackish Show.
Okay.
And Spike Lee. So those are some of the notable people. Who
wow. Okay. This is different.
This is the picture that she's being featured in on Coach. So there's some opportunity for her now. So again, she's a bit expanding. So she's riding on a merry-go-round pony in the snow with holding up her ponytail and a Coach bag. So, and they're pretty much Coaches promoting this their logo of the Coach and carriage and pony thing. So what I see you got a little face right there. So what's the problem with Meg?
I like Megan Thee Stallion,
but her and Coach.
No, I think that it's a great collaboration effort.
But
Coach is very historic.
Right. So
a lot of historic people wear Coach.
Right.
Not so much of the newer generation wears Coach. Don't get me wrong. Coach makes a phenomenal bag. Like their leather is amazing, and a Coach bag will last you to eternity. Like, I've had a couple when I was younger, but Coach gets old, and because they don't change well, I guess this is what they're trying to do: change the way the bag looks and bring in a newer and fresher audience and vibe to their brand. Because at the end of the day, Coach bags look like grandma bags,
right?
So that's kind of what
Meg the grandma
I'm familiar. No, I mean, I think that's why they brought her on board, because she brings a fresher, younger perspective to how these females out here look at certain lines of bags.
Right.
So even like I don't like the advertisement. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like her on the horse with the bag.
Well, there'll be other pictures, but
the facial expression is the worst. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, again, she's not a model. Yeah. We know that. So right. So she shouldn't be modeling the bag. She should be, I think that she should be part of the collaboration team to rebrand the bag, but she ain't no model. Point blank in the period. She could be tall. She's tall. Don't get me wrong. She's tall like a model, but she is not a model. Okay.
All right.
Well, moving on. Okay. So, we went from one singer trying to be a model. We have another singer trying to be a model. Are you familiar with the group One Direction?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyway. Same with London. Okay. Well, you'll like this story. Liam Payne, he's the quote-unquote the hot one that everyone likes, has been featured in the new Hugo Boss underwear ad with a model from Victoria's Secret by the name of Stella. But anyway, so he's been featured here with her with the briefs and without the briefs. So now the thing is like this is kind of in connection with sort of like, or I'm gonna say connection, but in similarity to T.I. and his relationship with his daughter, because as we both know that T.I. kind of got way too involved in his daughter's medical life. So Liam, once he promoted, revealed the fact of his Hugo Boss ad.
Okay. So
he showed it to his mom.
Oh.
And so here's another picture, a colored picture of Liam. And this is what he said this is how he explained it to his mom of this ad. He said, there's this really raunchy shot of me and Stella. And I showed my mom. And she took one look at it and gave me a clip around the ear.
Wow.
And pretty much all I was thinking, I better not tell her about the London buses. So pretty much those posters will be really huge.
Yeah, on the buses in London.
So, wow. But pretty much Liam is, accepting this new look for himself. And he feels like he is up there with the iconic underwear pictures of Brad Pitt and David Beckham. So he's hoping to...
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a nice ad. I like it. Brad Pitt. Like, that one's a classic. I'm always a David Beckham fan when he was doing this for H&M. So, yeah. Okay. That's not bad. Yeah. Not bad.
So that's a bit of fast fictional news.
All right. Thank you, Brian. We're going to take a pretty quick break. Lord. And when we come back, we're going to sit down with Miss London. And we're going to talk about cosplay right here on Fashion Victuals Radio. Welcome back to Fashion Victuals Radio right here on RipRadioNetwork.com. As you can see to the right of me, we have Miss London in the building.
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Okay, so as you can see, Miss London is dressed in cosplay right here on our show. So for those who do not know what cosplay is, can you give us a definition of what it is?
Sure. So the textbook definition of cosplay is costume and play mixed together, but it's not like regular costuming, like as if you were to go to Party City or the Halloween shop or anything. Like, cosplay is basically based in Japanese culture, or it's a part of Japanese culture and animation, and people each year go to different conventions to show and express their love for certain anime characters and dress up as them. So it's like a more intensified version of costuming.
Okay.
And sometimes people will act in character if you see them in a convention, or that you can ask them like, hey, so what you use to make your sword? Fiberglass. Like it's intense. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
So would you say that when people go to Comic-Con and stuff like that, that's pretty much cosplay when they're dressing up as certain like I guess like Marvel characters or like animation characters? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So I know that some people actually live out their cosplay. Like they have certain areas that maybe they do this in. Like people actually do like battle or something like that. I've seen that too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just explain that part.
Okay, so well, I can only speak from like the anime convention aspect. Whenever I go, or like whenever me and Chris over here go, usually they have like a costume contest, and so you see people like they'll log how many hours they took to create their cosplay. So it'll include like sewing and putting together their outfit completely, or their shoes, like wigs, props, everything. And so certain competitions, you either get paid for it or you hit like a certain tier and then you go on to the next level. It's not like face-off level, but it can be.
Okay.
You know? So it's pretty simple, but then they have different tiers. So you're like, oh, novice or beginner or advanced, and then you're like master level. That's the stuff. That's like face-off level. Like
okay.
You get there, and then you get bigger prizes. Sometimes they'll give you like free badges to go to a different convention, or money.
Okay.
Like money, or they'll give you a sponsorship with other costuming companies like Cryoline or Midnight, places like that.
Okay. Yeah. If you have any questions for Miss London, please call us at 301-232-5700. Again, that's 301-232-5700. Now, the character that you're dressed as is
Todoroki.
Todoroki.
From My Hero Academia. I kind of put my little spin on it, just a little bit. It's like it's very accurate right now, but the version that I wanted to do was, it's funny because you brought up Meg Thee Stallion earlier, and so I wanted to do like the Todoroki Tina version, just with shorter hair, and like cut the bodysuit up just a little bit more because it is cold outside, and I made more than half of this cosplay in like less than 2 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Like some of the stuff I'm like I literally just did it like before
you got. Yeah. Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So normally, how long does it take you to put together your cosplay costume?
Ooh. Well, for me, that's a horrible question for me because I'm a procrastinator and I work best under pressure. Now, if you catch me at a good time and I'm like, oh, I should start working this and doing this sooner, maybe 2 weeks tops.
Okay.
But if I'm like, oh, it's fine, the convention isn't until Friday, I got until Thursday night, and like I just work best under pressure. So myself, I work last minute. I don't recommend it. Other people, they like start months in advance, depending on if they're doing like armor builds or. Well, basically armor builds, or they're sewing, because sewing is a lot, and certain characters very intricate and precise and way too much fabric.
Wow.
But
okay, so do you make your own wigs as well?
No. Oh, okay. No. I mean, well, not all of mine. I have a picture of Inuyasha on my Instagram page, and he's the guy with the white hair. You've seen it before. And I made that like using like Kaneka hair and a crochet cap and spray paint and like all that. So
that's making your own wig.
This one, no, I ordered this from Amazon and it was like $8. And I just had my mom cut it and help me. But yeah,
awesome. Okay, so how many characters have you done so far?
I would say off the top of my head, probably like 12.
12?
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
Well, let's see. I think
that's a lot of characters.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that like I procrastinate and like I'm like, oh, I'll do this. I think I've technically like really cosplaying. I've been cosplaying since 2015.
Okay.
2015. When I first did it, it was like 2011, 2012, because my school, during Spirit Week, they were like, hey, dress up as your favorite hero or something. Like, and I'm like, man, I don't want to dress up as like Superwoman, none of that. Like, so I dressed up as Korra from Legend of Korra, and that was on Nickelodeon.
Okay.
And I didn't know it was cosplaying until some of my classmates was like, oh my God, your cosplay is so amazing. And I'm like, what the heck is a cosplay? Like, it's really just a costume, you're not doing too much. And then I researched and I was like, wow, I really did cosplay. So that was my first time.
Okay.
And I haven't stopped since.
Awesome.
Like, yeah.
And you love it.
I do.
I do. Tell. So do you do this every year for just particular a particular convention, or you do this quite often?
Oh, I do this quite often. I've been to a convention each month since, I want to say, February of this year. So February I took a few breaks. February I went to KatsuCon. June I went to Otakon. No, what convention was? No, May I went to MomoCon. June I went to Otakon. July I went to BlurCon. August I took a break. End of September, beginning of October, I did Anime Week in Atlanta, and then 2 days from now I'm going to Anime NYC, and then possibly December I'm going to Holiday Matsuri.
Okay.
So it's like they have them in different areas.
Yeah, so how do you, I don't know anything beyond Comic-Con when it comes to the city. So where do you find this type of information?
So you have, well, for me, it took me a minute. Surprisingly, when I went to my very first convention, I was near the Gaylord, and that's where KatsuCon was. And I was at this restaurant called Ketchup. It's closed now, but I went to this restaurant called Ketchup. Yeah, they did. Probably like 3-4 years ago. It's been closed for a minute. And I was in a restaurant, and it was KatsuCon weekend, so I'm seeing everybody running around in costumes. I'm seeing props and stuff flying everywhere. I literally like screamed like at the table, like flipping stuff, like, "Ma, like look, they're cosplaying." And she was like, "Girl, if you don't chill out, like we in this white establishment." So that was like my first douse in like looking into cosplay and the conventions and stuff. So when I actually went to KatsuCon the following year, they give you like, sometimes certain conventions will give you like a layout of certain conventions, or when you go to the dealer's room or the merchandise room, they'll have booths set up for people who are like, "Hey, come to my convention this next month. You get a discounted ticket," and they'll show you different areas. So usually like you see from people who are tabling in the dealer's room, or sometimes you like, I googled it, but I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I want to like actually hear what these people have to say at their booth. So I'll go into the dealer's room and just ask them about it.
Okay. So would you say that there aren't many African Americans who do cosplays, or we just don't know that there are a lot of them?
It's half and half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, y'all probably just don't know.
Right.
But on my side,
Brian probably know.
You definitely know.
Brian know.
It's half and half. From my perspective, I know it's a lot of us out here because of the fact that there is now currently a convention called BlurCon that's been out for like 2-3 years. That kind of let me know, like, wow, like it's actually a lot of us like out here. But before that, I was like, well, I guess I'll just be the minority in this. Like, it's cool. I'll make it look dope. I'll be in my own corner. But the more that I started going to conventions and started seeing it in a different light and the issues that arise, I noticed that there are definitely like more of us out there.
Okay.
And like trying to like fight for the same things, fighting for the attention. Like it gets very hectic.
Really?
But it's a lot. It's definitely a lot of us out there. It's just certain people. At first, I was a little bit afraid to cosplay because I'm like, okay, racism, discrimination, like people just awful on the internet.
Yeah.
Even at the convention, like the comments that I've gotten the first time I cosplayed, I was like, this is ridiculous. So that's why sometimes you don't really see cosplayers. Like they probably won't have a social media, but when you go to the conventions, they'll be there.
Okay.
It's just they don't like the negativity from being on the internet or you're just being like in that environment.
Right.
It's technically not, well, it's not supposed to be for black cosplayers, like, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I get it.
You know.
I think that everybody should be free to do whatever they want.
True.
I agree.
Well,
yes.
Thanks for
hitting
the iceberg. Now we're getting some real deepness because Miss London is pretty much very vocal about not just promoting black cosplayers, but also about the sort of discrimination and of sort of, let's say, let's put it in this aspect. And I have a little question. Now we've all heard about our Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and the blackface of him being Aladdin and all that stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then, several years ago, before we fell in love with Prince Henry, he wore the Nazi outfit and things like that. Now, what is your viewpoint on these type of quote unquote cosplaying or dress ups, as a lot of people would say? Because I know you've been through some of the conventions he's done. She's been very vocal about that.
Okay, so I'll speak on like what I see because it's gonna make a lot more sense like if I explain it that way. Of course, like I don't agree with blackface. I don't agree with race face. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It really boils my spirit. Like, it makes me so angry because there are often times where I'm at a convention and some of my friends will run up to me and like, oh my goodness, somebody did a Cusco cosplay, but like they darkened their skin. And I'm like, what? Like, why do you have, why? Like, just why? Right?
Yeah.
And so what I do, or what a few of my friends would do, I'll shout them out: King Kitsu, Lady Luna Star, Roxy, Aaron, a few of my other friends on Instagram. Like, they'll call it out and they use their platforms to speak about these issues, but then you get backlash from white cosplayers. They're like, it's not even that big of a deal. Like,
it is.
It's just a costume. Like, blackface is technically someone painting their face black with big red lips. And I'm like, y'all are really missing the bigger point, because blackface, it erased the need for people in theater back in the day. It erased the need for black people in general, and it is the same thing that's happening now to this day. And it just sucks. It's like, it erases the need for us in the cosplay community. It's a lot of talented black cosplayers who are out here, and we'll do like a real dope cosplay of an actual like black character that is given to us, and we're excited about it because of course we don't have that much representation on a lot of different platforms. And then a white cosplayer will do it and they do blackface, and they'll get more praise than the person who actually does it. Or we'll get called a nigger even though we're black, cosplaying a black character, or something. Even if we're not cosplaying a black character, it's just like we'll get dogged. And the cosplay can be really, really good, but then you have like the cookie cutter cutout of a thin white cosplayer who gets all the praise in the world, who blackfaced, and it's sucky. It's like, my skin is not a costume. Everybody knows, like, Halloween, and I see the afros in the pack and the
I know.
Oh God, it just makes me sick to my stomach. And it's like, my skin is not a costume, because at the end of the day, like, you could just go ahead and be like, oh, I'm done with this, but I get called a nigger just for dressing as my favorite character, which is really ridiculous.
Wow.
So, it's
so
like,
this is really a thing in this industry. That's crazy. I feel like that is the one place where everybody should be free to be whoever they want to be in themselves.
It used to be like that, too.
Yeah.
It used to be like that, but then now you got, like, the social media thing, where now it's so you have to do all this stupid, dumb, big stuff to get big, and now you have like the elitist set of cosplayers or the elitist makeup artists on YouTube. God forbid, I won't even give them like any type of publicity by naming them.
Right.
But you get like all of that, and then now they're jumping into cosplay too, and then they're ruining that as well.
Yeah.
And not using their platforms to speak up about something that is so crazy. That how does it trickle into my craft? Like, how does it trickle into this where I'm just having a good time dressing up as my character, monetizing, meeting new people? Right. Like, how does it trickle down into that? And it sucks. So for me, I have to speak up about it because, one, I'm black. Like, I'm black, so I have to say something about it. Right. And then two, it's like, it's little kids out here who have messaged me on Tumblr before and was like, oh my God, I really love that you cosplay. I'm scared to do it because I'm so dark skinned and like I get called names. Like, it's so sad.
I commend you for being an advocate in this, because the more that we speak out about it, the more people will get involved. And I pray that you really keep going with this, because I think that, again, in that type of industry, that is the one place that you could be whoever you want to be, and nobody should judge you for it. Right. Whether you're black, whether you're white. Well, I don't agree they do blackface. That's just racist as fuck. It is. That's racist as fuck. Yep. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the one place where you could be anybody you want to be, and you get castrated because of it.
Well, I kind of agree where London kind of mentioned the fact. I think it's gotten so big to the point where it's just like, you know, I think, unfortunately, you know, some of the big names, you know, have been kind of silent. You know, and which is kind of unfortunate. I mean,
are there any major African American cosplayers?
Not African American, but let's say we have Yaya Han. She's been well known for almost a decade now, and unfortunately, I don't hear anything from her, and which is kind of unfortunate. And another one, Marie-Claude Bananas, she's been vocal from time to time, but she stays in her underground making new cosplays from time to time. But as for notable Black African Americans, or right now we're seeing one right now in the movie.
Absolutely.
So because she's put her face out there, she's put her foot forward and saying like, hey, we need to speak up on these things. And she on her Instagram I wouldn't say televised, but broadcasts her speeches and some of the speaking events that she goes to. So as long as she keeps doing this until she just can't do it no more, you have one. So I give her full credit on that.
I do too. So, I think that, again, push forward, keep moving hard, and I want to see you where their level is, so you can be that voice that everybody needs, especially young African American kids who are afraid to do this because of how they look or how they feel. I think that's phenomenal. We need that in all areas, True.
But here's another serious-minded question. I'm reminded of two things: Batman and Sasha Banks. And I'll tell you why. The mask, because a lot of people hide in their cosplay. Which is kind of not people talk about that, but some people feels like their character is who they really are, and the mask is their real self. So that's where I feel Batman is. And then the Sasha Banks part is because Sasha Banks came back like about a month ago, but she revealed on WWE, mentioning the fact of was Sasha Banks for so long, she forgot who she really was. So have you either yourself or maybe even your friends or someone within the cosplaying community who had those similar issues like Batman or like Sasha Banks?
Yeah, for myself, like I'm London, I cosplay, but I am who I am. Like, I don't lose myself in it because it's just, you have to stay humble with this type of thing, even when you make it big. And unfortunately, a lot of other cosplayers who are Black and do have a higher following aren't like that. Shade, no shade. My friends, a lot of them, they know who they are. Like, yeah, they're so and so, and they cosplay, but that doesn't define who they are. And that's what happens when you start getting to the elitist cosplayers and those who have that big platform who don't say anything because they're like, oh, whatever. Like, when you start monetizing off of it and getting those sponsorships and everything, then you start being quiet. But I mean, a lot of my circle, the people I hang out with, they know who they are, and the cosplay doesn't consume them. They don't hide behind it. Like, they make it their thing. Like, they're, like, you know how, I don't know what's a good example to use. Like, for example, when people join Greek life and they say, don't let the letters make you, you make the letters. Everybody in my circle, they make the cosplay. They don't let the cosplay make them. Okay. So I can't even speak on the other side of, if they let cosplay consume them or if they hide behind it. I just feel like people like that, I don't really need that in my circle. I don't want that in my circle unless they ask me for advice. And if I'm really close and I see somebody do that, then I'm like, hey, yo, you got to chill, man. You got to stay humble, like, keep your head up, like, stay focused. But all of my friends that I hang with and people I do Instagram Live videos with, like, I know, they know who they are. And I hang with them and I talk to them every day. I get the chance and see them at conventions. I'm gonna see them this weekend on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So I don't know. I can't keep people like that in my circle. It's not genuine, and it's kind of scary too.
Do you think in a way that you kind of have formed a movement with this, especially going to different conventions and having your group with you that stand behind you and what you do?
I mean, I wouldn't say like maybe I heard the question wrong. I don't think like I'm the one that started the movement. I just think like all of us were like on the same page at the same time, and we're all like.
But there's not a lot of voices out there.
It is though.
It is.
It is a lot of voices out there, but they're not going to broadcast it because that's not what's making money, and we don't look the part to speak up like about stuff like that. Which, like, you see what I'm saying? Like when you're a Black cosplayer, for example, right? I did a panel at BlurCon called Black Femmes in Cosplay with my friend Lady Lunastar, and I submitted the panel for Katsucon. Katsucon is not an all-Black convention. It's mainly white and Asian cosplayers who go. But you go there, you get a good photographer to take your picture, you get a big break, you get a nice, decent following, publicity and everything. And when I submitted my panel, they denied it. because I guess, and from what their email had said, which doesn't make any sense to me, they're like, hey, we did not Japan. I'm like, okay, so, you know, me asking what can I do next year to make sure that it gets approved, because it's a topic that needs to be talked about. And they were like, well, we're not allowed to give individual feedback on panel submissions, but if you follow the format of making sure that your description is clear and precise, and that your panel centers around like Japanese traditional culture or something like that, those are like higher chances of getting it in. I'm like, so just say that y'all don't want my panel there because it has black things and cosplay in the name. And so I say that to say it's a lot of people like myself that are out there trying to get their stuff approved, but you got conventions who literally will cock block you and be like, nah, because it's not talking about, oh, like dating your favorite anime character, or let's learn how to sew this body pillow shaped like your favorite character. Yeah. But it's just it just shows the inner racism and discrimination with the conventions themselves. And so that's why a lot of the voices that people feel aren't there aren't getting heard, because conventions literally will cut you right then and there, like, nah. Wow. And so we'll talk about it on social media, but then when you talk about it on social media, you get attacked. And some people aren't built to keep pushing and talking about stuff like that. I am, because I fight. Like, hey, don't let me catch you slipping at a con, period. Like, I'm still,
don't
like
let
I said,
the costume fool
don't
you.
let the costume fool you, because, like, I can speak really articulated like this, like how I'm speaking to y'all, and then I'm like, all right, look, what's up?
Exactly.
You know?
I see the power up.
It's just, I remind people who follow my Instagram, like, yeah, this is fun. But if you don't bang with me because I'm a black cosplayer, just go ahead. And I had people who would dip right after I would say that, you know? But going back on topic, there are a lot of us out here who are speaking up, but then you get cock blocked by conventions, or the internet is a horrible place, so some people just aren't built for that.
The Blur, what's the one that you were talking about?
Oh, BlurCon?
So that's the African-American one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's based on black nerds.
Okay, so are there more like that?
There's a few. I don't remember the names. The panel I did at AWA, like some of the people who were in the audience listed like 3 of them, and I can't remember them. But then that's a problem, that I can't really remember them, and they're not getting broadcasted or publicized, you know.
But BlurCon is pretty much one
that's local too.
That's local. Okay. Yep. So, Brian, I know you know a few of them.
Well, I've been to Katsucon, so and of course AwesomeCon, but London's not a fan of AwesomeCon because that's pretty much more DC Marvel and catered to anime.
Like, I love DC Marvel, but I'm just like, maybe one day I'll jump back into it, but right now it's a
and see, I love Marvel. Like, I'm a Marvel comic fan. But I used to be DC.
Well,
but, you know.
I want to sort of get back into the fashion sense of her outfits and things. What is? I mean, I've seen your Instagram. Of course, you've done a lot of anime. But has there been something that's very elaborate that took time and money, you know, for you to put out there? I mean, something that's, because I noticed a nice little elf vampire-ish outfit that you
with the white hair.
Yes, with the white hair. So, but is that the most elaborate outfit you've ever done? Oh, there's something else.
I don't think any of mine are like really super elaborate. Cause I mean, I'm very cheap. I'm sorry, I'm really cheap, and I think, you know, maybe when I get a new job and like higher pay and everything, then I can start getting into the intricacies of my cosplays and start getting the equipment needed for it. But I cosplay on a budget, and I just try to make it look good as much as possible. Cause I think if I were to do like an armor build, then that's when I would put money into it, because that's something that's serious. Like, I want it to last. But if it's something like this, man, whatever, bruh. Like, I ain't about to do all that. But I mean, I guess to answer the question, if I had to name a cosplay that was a little more intricate, I'll probably say the Inuyasha cosplay, because that wig took quite some time to get it like the fluff that I needed it to. And then on top of that, I ordered like a sander and everything to make my sword. And you saw how big my sword was. I made 3 of those like in a week.
Wow.
To see which one I like.
Well, actually, you if I remember correctly, you had it in its dormant state,
I had the regular one.
Yeah.
I had the broken one, and then I had like the full.
Yeah. Full elaborate. Yeah.
Yep. And I made that.
You have to see Inuyasha to understand what we're saying.
I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm gonna go on YouTube now. Now I got something to do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with the fashion sense of these things, how do you feel as far as, like Brian said, one of your most expensive? What do you think was the most easiest costume that you put together?
Any of them that's like bought and I don't have to like do anything with them. So I would say the elf one with the white hair. That one was easy. Bought the wig, bought the corset, bought the outfit. Good to go. Like didn't have to modify anything except for the vest because it was a little snug and I couldn't breathe. But that one, I think. Yeah, matter of fact, I think that was the only super easy one actually. Because this one was kind of difficult too. Like I'm not good with like phone builds or anything, and I was like, okay, it looks pretty nice on camera, but up close it's like, whoa, you gotta go back and fix some stuff. This one was a little bit difficult because I didn't have anybody to help measure me, and I don't have a bodice, so like I like put it up to myself, like okay, maybe this will work right here. All right, let me just makeshift this. But if I was to run in this, it won't fall apart.
Gotcha.
So when I do super serious or intricate stuff, I just make sure it doesn't fall apart, but I keep it cheap. Because I honestly don't have it like that. So I'll be like, let me just chill out for a second. And whatever I can make happen, I can make happen. But I never bite off more than I can chew. And if I do, I'm like, I'll just save it for next year. Like, I'll put it away.
So, what is 3 things that you can tell people right now about cosplay and about being a Black cosplayer?
Okay. Well, I'll start with being a Black cosplayer thing. So I'll give 3 probably for each.
Okay.
So being a Black cosplayer, don't ever feel like you are by yourself because you're not. If they ever have like a Black cosplayer meetup, or if you see a panel that's dedicated to talking about our issues and stuff, the photo shoots, they have meetups and everything. Sometimes we have like Facebook groups. So POC cosplayers, persons of color cosplayers, or cosplayers of color. And so we make posts in there like, hey, who's going to this convention? Who wants to go get Korean barbecue? Like, that's how we keep close. So just know that you're not by yourself. And I get, like, if you're introverted or if you're not a socialite, it can be a little bit hard to get to know people because a lot of people think, like, Black groups are, like, very intimidating. But really, we just want to embrace each other. So that's rule 1. Like, you're not by yourself. And do not make the big mistake of trying to be buddy-buddy with, like, a lot of white cosplayers because you're going to regret it. And that's not me being shady. That's not me being like, pro-Black. That's just the truth. Like, just don't do it because they're going to make you the token Black cosplay friend. And they're going to be like, well, so-and-so thinks it's okay for you to do blackface because they will spring that on you. And it's been done before. So that's rule 1. Rule 2, actually, no, I think I hit all 3 in that one. Like, you're really not by yourself. Everything will fall underneath that umbrella. You'll feel a sense of solidarity. You'll feel a sense of being at home. You'll feel a sense of family and friendship. Like, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I'm glad I got my Black cosplay friends. Just don't go by yourself. Just try to make at least one Black cosplay friend, and they will hold you accountable and hold you down and protect you. I think, that's, like I said, everything else falls under the umbrella. So for those who don't know what cosplay is, don't judge a book by its cover because some of us do make money off of dressing up like this. And it's a fun thing to do. I'd say don't knock it unless you actually go to a convention and see what the hype is about because anime culture is like really big and has been very big. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all kids, a lot of y'all friends, a lot of y'all kids' friends in school.
A lot of y'all hiding behind it and watching it.
It's like it's fun. Like, just accept it, and it's okay. If somebody judge you, that's what all the weirdos and anime nerds are for. Like, I got laughed at plenty of times in high school, and I didn't care. Look at me now. I have people asking me to make them costumes for Halloween. I'm like, you made fun of me in high school. No. So, that's number 1. Number 2, just look up stuff. Like, look at the issues that cosplayers go through because it'll probably end up trickling down into what other, like, just regular, like, Black people are going through. Same thing, racism, discrimination, people who are, like, trying to oppress you and impose their will and their white supremacy is niche ish. Yeah,
shit.
Like
you can say shit.
And they're gonna try to push that on you, but just know that we're fighting a fight over here too. It's not all fun and games being a cosplayer. I don't really have a rule number 3. I think it trickles back to just going to a convention and seeing it for yourself and like Googling it and just seeing the fun that people have or if they monetize from it.
Okay,
so,
now tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Yes, so I'm more active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Black Crystal Cosplay _.
There he is.
Oh, yeah. Oh. And that picture was taken by my good old friend over here in the corner. You can't see him, but hey, Chris. My Facebook, Black Crystal Cosplay. You'll see me. You can't really miss me like at all. And if I have any other further updates, if I decide to make a Twitter or Patreon or anything, like you'll see the updates and stuff on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you, Miss London.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. We're going to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to go back into part 2 of our topic from last week. It's going to be a battle between me and Brian.
If you need backup, you should.
Oh, man.
Right here on Fashion Victuals Radio. Welcome back to Fashion Victuals Radio right here on ripradionetwork.com. For those who are not aware, our show goes
Another 25 minutes.
There you go. Thank you, Brian. Can't get the words out my mouth today. So
it's all that anime and stuff dangling in your head, which is a good thing. So you
I know
I heard you learned a lot today.
I did, and I mean to be in that world as an African American, you would think that, okay, this is somewhere where she can actually be free to be herself, and it's like you still get this racism.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's sad.
It is.
I mean, you figured it's like the one. I think, like I said before, I think the popularity of cosplaying has increased.
Right.
And a lot of people's like, they want the authenticity, whatever.
Right.
The word that says assonance. Assonance.
Absolutely.
But anyway, they just want to be accurate and all that stuff. And it's like, you can't be this character because you're this. And it's like, no, then why are you blackfacing here and all that? There's a lot of layers that's been going on for the last few years. And London, her mom co-hosts a show, Real Talk Uncensored, 5:30 to 7 here on Rip Radio Network on Mondays.
Oh, really?
So, okay. And I believe, like she said, they forgot their canister. But
leave it for her mom.
Yeah. So they mentioned the fact that it was like, she mentioned the fact of where she got her strength and all this. Her mom's the same way. So
that's
it's like
awesome.
Very vocal and
that's awesome.
And things like that. So
I really hope she continues that.
Yeah,
I want to see her up here with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a lot of cosplayers out there. There's nothing wrong in having a black person, male or female.
Oh no, not at all.
So, but
anywho,
let's get back to our talk.
So last week, Brian and I had a small battle. I would say it's a small battle. About certain things about men and women, and when it comes to not just relationships, but how they treat others in relationships.
Mainly, you were talking about their having conversations. So they're talking.
Yeah. So to me, and I'm a big advocate of communication. Let's be clear. I love open communication. I'm a black and white person. I don't like gray areas. I don't like gray lines. I don't like no blurred lines. Okay, no blurred lines. I do not like it. Like, my thing is, I need understanding. Like, treat me like I don't know shit. Tell me what you feel. Tell me what you're thinking. And what I've found in some things, and this is men and women both, because I do have a lot of homeboys and male friends who are married or in relationships, and they bring certain things to my attention. So it's one of those things where I have to be on their side of the fence and my own side of the fence. But I'm going to call them out if I think they're wrong. Point blank in the period. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I know there's always, 3 sides to the story: his, hers, and the truth. So it's his story, it's her story, and what is the truth. Okay. So I can't always say, well, I got you, or I understand what you're saying. I'm going to be like, bruh, like, you wrong.
Okay. Now, keep in mind, I'm trying to be more because this is not just mainly between men and women. This can be within same-sex couples.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
So we try to be multidiversive.
Absolutely.
But
it can be same-sex couples too.
Yes,
absolutely.
So, but the key point here is, like I said before, is at some point someone has to admit they're wrong. And
what point does that get to?
As you said, there's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth. Okay, here's the thing: who represents the truth?
The common medium.
No.
The person
you say okay.
Okay, so first of all, when we blah, 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 we left off last week,
right?
When you jumped down my throat about going to bed angry. Was it that conversation we had?
Well,
and then we had somebody in the audience say, just go naked. And that way, y'all can kind of clear the air.
Well,
naked.
No, I said here's my quote. I said this. I said the smartest person in the room is the one who walks away.
Yes.
Because of the fact,
how is that the smartest person in the room?
Because that person realized the fact of how the conversation is going.
But to me, is I agree and I don't agree, because I understand you're walking away because you don't want to get to that level of anger while you're talking to that person.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like you're walking away from the problem and nothing's getting resolved. But nothing's getting resolved either.
No, what I'm saying, true, it's not getting resolved. But if you're dealing with a person, anybody in a conversation, anybody, this is how I feel. If I'm hearing you repeating the same thing over and over again, I've already won the battle, because all you're doing is trying to reiterate, keep saying the same thing over and over again, to the point where it's like you're trying to drill into my head, claiming that you're right all the time, and really you're not. So I feel like
okay.
So by doing that, I feel like, all right, won that notch. Then on the point where it's like either I'm trying to say something to counter what you're saying for the 15,000th time, and you just you get louder, you interrupt me, and all that stuff. Is like, okay, there's a notch, because I already gotten under your skin, because I'm trying to stop you from continuing on to whatever crazy rhetoric you're going. So I figure it's like, okay, fine.
But what if the shoe's on the other foot? Like, what if the other person's doing that?
Same deal. It doesn't matter.
Because I've seen,
like I said, it's a conversation. A conversation should be a two-way street.
I'm supposed to listen. You're
supposed to talk. You're supposed to talk. I'm supposed to, the back and forth. But if I'm talking and you interrupt me, I'm talking, but you get louder, and it's suddenly like, okay, this is going nowhere. So really, it's like the one person who pretty much realized the fact that this conversation is not working, smartly enough will say, I'm out.
I'm normally that person.
Yes.
Ripley's, believe it or not, I'm normally that person.
Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be man does it or woman does it.
Right.
I'm saying the smartest person in this room is the smart one who realized they'll shut down. And like you said, he's like, oh, you just shut down, you don't say enough. It's like, no, they're smart enough to shut down, because it's like, I'm going to
say something I'm going to regret.
Yeah. And I feel like I rather not say nothing, nod my head, and just sort of like, all right, fine, and keep it moving.
And
now,
I agree.
Unless again, sadly, somebody will bring up this crazy conversation again for no reason, and it's like, well, remember what I said? It's like, yeah, and in my mind, I know you were wrong. That's why, because it feels like the reason why you bring it up, because it felt like you claim that that individual claims to bring up something back from the past, they will feel it's like, well, I was right at this moment in time, and it's like technically that person will literally say, technically you were wrong.
I feel differently sometimes. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a person to argue. I don't like raising my voice. I don't feel like I have to in order to get my point across. So that's the only reason why I walk away. Because if I start raising my voice, then it's going to be a shit show.
Right.
But howsoever, I don't agree with how certain men or significant others and spouses handle situations where there is some disagreements. Like, I'm an advocate of, like, handle the issue now so we can get through it and move forward. Like, I don't need you to walk away from me, or I don't need you to yell at me. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. If you want to see a sister mad, yell at me.
See, this is
oh
what,
my God.
But the thing is, again, you don't know where, like I said last week, when's a good time to have this conversation?
Like you said, naked in bed.
Well, he's perfect. Yeah, naked in bed, because
I mean, that's
all that
the comments you're gonna be.
Some angry sex, which is good. So,
but you have the conversation before the sex. That's the thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm reminded of a song by Babyface and Tony Braxton. This is like, called "Sweat." You got to hear the lyrics. It's perfect but it's a nice song. Like I said, it's a good song. But anyway. My thing is like, yeah, the vulnerability. If you expose yourself, try to be open, try to be, realize the fact is like, okay, this, we're open, we're being honest and things like that. At what point in time is a person going to be doing that? And especially when it comes to when it started off as a simple discussion. And I remember you saying it's like, oh, you need a safe space and all that stuff. And
right.
Things like that. But really, you're kind of like, okay, how is this safe space created when the person who's walking into this safe space didn't create it?
But
because
that
person's walking into a trap.
But in all fairness, I feel like the safe space should be established prior to even getting into an argument. Like, should be something that couples just need to talk about as far as having that safe space. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have that safe space, I feel like nothing's going to get accomplished.
Okay. Any couple, they have either
like people got safe words.
True. Well, that's S&M stuff, and that's a later show. But thing is like with this, it's like, okay, like I said before, if one person comes home from work and the other person is cooking dinner and already dealt with kids or whatever, so that particular person is on edge. The person who just walked in, driving X amount of hours, dealing with traffic, dealing with a crazy boss or crazy employees and all this, they're coming home, they got an issue, and then you come home into quote unquote the safe space to have a discussion of something that could be so small but get escalated due to the fact of one small word that triggers one of these two parties to a level that you should never have gone to.
Do you think that couples should have a safe word for arguments or disagreements? Like a safe word for S&M.
Okay.
That's the timeout word, right?
Again, this is not a sitcom though.
It's not a sitcom, but it's reality.
Unless they get couples therapy, then yeah. I
really feel like this is my thing. I think that in today's society, in today's day and age, like you see more divorces and breakups than anything, especially in this area that we live in where honestly the ratio for every woman to man is like 15-1.
Because I think the stress levels are at 100 and more.
Yeah. The traffic is one. Well, the careers are two.
Yeah, those are the two strong elements. And then you can deal with finances. You can deal with the quality of the people you're dealing with and things like that, because you keep for a woman, you keep dealing with a bunch of youngins who are trying to holler at you, and you got the guys who are trying to deal with women who got too much going on for themselves and they really don't want a man or whatever. So it's like there's all these crazy levels of stress and testosterones and all that stuff going on.
Okay, let me ask the audience, do you all think that it's okay to have a safe word or a safe space during a disagreement or an argument with your significant other? So I feel like certain things should be established in relationship 101 from the beginning, and that's one of the things that I think should be established.
I think,
and then again, you may not put the rules into place because at the time, mentally, you can be in a space where it's like, I don't give a fuck about being in a safe space. I'm going to fire that person's ass up. You see what I'm saying?
True.
So, but I think, and this is a lot with us as African Americans, like we just don't give a shit anymore. Like, there's nothing that is fearful for men or women to lose out on their spouse in a relationship anymore. It's like, oh, I could replace you, this, that, and the third. It's like, again, in this area.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing.
Again, in this area, society shows that there's 15 women to every one man here. And I'm just speaking
Where are
for
they?
like
Where
the
are
DMV.
these ladies? I need
The
a line, 'cause I
DMV
didn't get it.
alone. But this is the DMV alone. But you have to break them down, though, Brian. Like, you got to break them down with what they have going on. Because, I mean, they could be lesbian. They could have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. They could be going through a divorce and denial. They could be just single, just wanting to mingle. So it's like you kind of got to break down the factors of women that you approach.
I get that, but that's where I feel like here's the other thing about communication of lately.
Okay.
And I don't think we even touched on that, and maybe briefly.
I would like to hear this.
It is social media. And
totally agree. We have not touched on that. Social media plays a huge factor in communication.
Right. So here's the thing. If you are upset with me if we were dating and I get home and you get upset with me complaining the fact of a text message that I did not reply to you by, and that becomes a problem. And I'm like, are you serious? It's like you don't know what I mean. I feel like I'm busy. I'm working. Something happens, and yes, Miss Tiara.
Brian, what the hell? Why shouldn't you just reply? Just reply.
Okay, again.
Just reply. Why do you leave a woman?
Did you hear
or
what
man,
I just
whoever,
said?
Like, but Brian, it ain't nothing. It's not like you
see?
picking up the phone and you gotta be on the phone. Like, you could just say, "Hey, babe, I'm busy right now. I gotta hit you later." Period.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Keep in mind. Okay. Mind you.
Oh,
we're maybe. No. Listen. Hold on. Keep in mind, we're about a decade apart here. So what I'm saying.
But Brian,
no.
I'm not the millennial.
Hear me out. What I'm saying is, okay, back in the day, back when our parents, it's like, look, they're not getting calls and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And it's like, "Well, I'm in this mill. I have to talk to my foreman."
I have someone who wants to be live right now.
Well, call in. Shoot.
You can call in too. Let's see if they're going to respond.
Yes.
Since they have something
my
to
point,
say.
Yeah, until you call, I'm gonna say this. Okay, there was a point in time where it's like, look, our parents had to literally come up. What are you doing?
Okay, so right now the topic is they're on live. You've heard the topic, so what do you have to say about the topic going on right now?
I don't think they hear. Call.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so the topic is interesting. I gotta say that first and foremost, you're making some serious points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening a little bit further to see what my position is. I just need to hear both sides a little bit more.
I feel like Brian's wrong, but okay. I don't see what the problem is. I don't. I feel like if your woman texts you, it shouldn't take you 6-7 hours to text back or even show up at home.
In the middle of
I don't give a shit.
project.
I don't give a shit. You know how many projects I go through a day, Brian?
Okay, I understand your work. You should understand mine. So if I had a moment in time, aka lunch, to respond to your text, yes, I'll do that. But if I'm working through lunch, then middle of my project, I can't contact you right now. I'm in focus mode. I'm trying to get this project done.
Okay.
So you're more concerned with me responding to you than me trying to get my paper.
We have a viewer right here on live. Okay. How do you feel about not getting a response after a text message?
That's easy. You would feel ignored if it's not promptly or at some point you responded,
So do you feel like if you sent a text message to your woman or your significant other and they didn't respond to you at all, but yet they show up at home and you still didn't get a response, they just come home, is that a problem?
I think it's no. go off. I'm gonna ask the question. What happened? It's necessary to ask the question. If you don't, then you sitting up there looking.
Now tell me, why would you go off? Because you didn't get a response, right?
Not just that, it's a principle behind it too. Because with me not hearing from you, then I'm concerned about your safety.
Oh, you gonna blame it on that, huh? Well, thank you. Goodbye.
See, you didn't want to hear it. You didn't want to. You didn't like what you didn't like what you want to hear, and you get mad about it. And that's the other thing. And that's the other. And that no. See,
as a woman, I ain't worried about your safety. I'm worried about what the fuck you doing. Excuse my French. Why haven't you responded to my message? That was 7 hours ago. That was this morning. Oh, babe, I had a project going on. Word, my nigga. Word. Like a project.
See, you have trust issues. No.
You can't just say, babe, I'm super busy today. I gotta hit you later when I get off.
Then you have trust issues.
Look, y'all.
Am I wrong? If you leave
a woman on red, what woman wouldn't have certain trust issues or certain not understandings of what's going on if you're not communicating with her?
Again, if you understand the lifestyle of the person you're dealing with, okay, are you gonna have? Let's say this: if you're dealing with a military man and he's out on assignment that you don't know about, are you gonna get upset? And not knowing, we need to understand the fact that that's his life. It's like, hey, there'll be times where he has to go dark, and you're gonna get upset when you don't know the day he goes dark.
All right, fine. So you're telling me that as a spouse or a significant other, I should be more understanding as to why I don't get a response back.
Yes, and also the fact is, like, as both parties, have to understand that, look, there's a lot going on in this, in your world personally, and also when you get involved with somebody.
This is how I feel, Brian, and I mean,
that's why we need you need couples counseling. Couple counseling. Surprisingly enough, I've been hearing a lot lately, and especially from celebrity couples. They say, "Hey, we went to couples counseling." And
absolutely, and I totally agree. I think couples counseling heals a lot.
There's your safe space.
Yes, totally. We can agree on something. Couples counseling is a safe space. But I will say this, Brian. You make a valid point that with that person's career, you may not always be able to hear from them when necessary. But then you just got to know who you're dealing with.
That's what I'm saying.
But there should be some type of a communication either the day before or something like saying, you know what, babe, I got a lot going on tomorrow, so I'm just letting you know now I may not be able to get to my phone at all.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But don't leave somebody in the dark.
Okay, mind you, once that is said, don't get upset when the moment you have whatever crazy emergency you need to tell him, which is so minute that you can handle, you figure it's like, well, you got to remember that. Couples counseling, folks. Couples counseling.
I need counseling, period, at this point. Shit. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Fashion Victuals tonight.
Thank you to London.
Thank you, Miss London, our cosplay player.
Here's his handles again.
Yes, Miss London at Black Crystal Cosplay on Instagram. _, on Instagram, and the original Black Crystal on Facebook. And what I will say is, like, if you do not go follow this girl, like, she's dope. She has a lot to say, especially in that industry that we don't know about, that she is bringing awareness to. Because at this point, I'm happy to hear what she's doing and what part that she's taking in and what stand that she's bringing. All right, everybody. Next Wednesday, we got Mr. D. Scott on here from DSD Painting. He'll be coming in the building. If you do not follow this guy, he's a awesome motivational person with his successful business. So make sure that you tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Same bad time, same bad channel. We're new time from 7 to 8:30. Right here on Fashion Victuals Radio. Peace.